Good morning, folks. So, I brought you into my office today because we found, this always happens when someone passes away. You always find fascinating information that's just shoved up in file folders. And a lot of times, the family does not know this history. And it is absolutely imperative, I think, that we teach our children our history. Now, I never knew this, but the Bona Nova, 1619. Thomas Gasconi, age 34, in Virginia, February 7th, 1624 to 25. This is an ancestor of mine. This proves that my family has been here from the 1600s. Never knew that. Here's another thing that I found. And kudos to my brother for finding this. We are related to Blackbeard. Here's all the paperwork. This is all the paperwork on Blackbeard. You can see it's about 25 pages. And how we're related. We're basically 9 generations removed. Independent Cavalry, William H. Spencer, Captain. Related. There you go. Confederacy. Part of the Spencer Rangers. And there's the genealogy backing that up. Never knew that. This information is just, look at this. This is just absolutely, look at this. Look at this. This is family. This is all family. This is all family. I never knew about all these people. I never knew about all these people. Right? I never knew all this. This is just absolutely, this is, my grandmama's marriage license. We couldn't find it. Couldn't find it because it wasn't listed under Gaskins. It was listed under Wells. Okay? So, yeah. So this is this is what happens in families is stuff gets shoved in corners and everybody gets busy doing their business and everything, and history gets forgotten. And it's no fault of the parents, because their parents were too busy trying to survive that they didn't pass on a lot of this history, or they weren't even taught this history. Okay. Now, obviously, I have two sides of my family. I have my father's side, which is what this is, and I have my mother's side. Now, on my mother's side, we know that some of my mother's ancestors came over here in the early 1900s, and they were fleeing persecution in Europe. And we know that they set up schools, and they were running some of the schools for children coming from Europe who were orphaned during World War I and World War II. And they ran these schools, and they found these children's homes with farms all through the Midwest. So we do know that. We do know that early in the 1930s, uh, a lot of my family left, like Germany and Italy and Spain and those areas, and they came here to the United States. And when they came here, uh, they changed their names because they had Jewish names, and so they changed their names so they would not be seen as being Jewish. And they made every attempt to erase all of their family history so that that would not be found out. And so we do know that's on my mother's side. Um, we don't know how far back those names go, or if they were just considered Jewish names and they weren't Jewish. We don't know. I mean, we've never been raised Jewish. Nobody in the family's been raised Jewish, but we do have that history on my mother's side. So we don't know. So my point to you is, if you have children and you are blessed to have your grandparents still around, you need to take the time and find out this family history. And if you can't teach your children, at least get it written down. There has been so much lost as far as our history goes, um, just because everyone was so busy with their own lives that they got involved with their own families and they forgot about their core family. And by core family, I mean their mother, their father, their siblings. They got so involved with their new family that their core family, they forgot all that history. And this happened a lot, especially following World War II. This happened quite a lot. And so that's why you find all of these genealogy experts and ancestry experts making money and doing these TV shows on, the ancestry of these famous people, and a lot of it goes back to indentured slavery, uh, uh, and gamblers. I mean, at one time we do know that one of our relatives literally owned all of Ocracoke Island here in North Carolina, owned the whole island. And through his life, because he drank and gambled so much, he literally sold the island off to make sure he had enough alcohol and drugs and women, and paid his debts. Okay. And so he we didn't know very much about him. We knew kind of that he was a drunkard and a philanthropist, and that he was not seen well in the family. And so the family had pretty much disowned him. Um, and his wife, I believe, left him, and that's pretty much all we knew. But this was back in the 1840s. Uh, he refused to get involved in the Civil War, uh, and that caused him issues with the family, because the family was torn, like most families during that time, between the North and South. And we do know that. But as fascinating as this is to me, this has really been hard on me this weekend because cleaning out my mom and dad's house for the new owner to be moving in. And so much history that we never knew. Uh, so teach your children your history. You don't know how long you will have those grandparents there. You don't know how long you will have your parents there. Take the time and save your history for the next generation. And it's been a difficult weekend, and it's not done. I've got one of my stepbrothers is coming by today with some other stuff that he wants to get from mom's house, and just be aware of history. Write down the things that are going on now, because what's happening right now is historical. Uh, don't get distracted by all this other stuff going on. Okay, don't get distracted about this race or that race or this country or that country. Try and write down and keep an account of the things that you are seeing in your day-to-day life. Because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And this is beginning to become exceptionally apparent that our world is literally falling apart. And generations from now are going to look back on this time and they're going to want to know, how did this happen? Why did this happen? What was going on in day-to-day life that allowed this to happen? History, folks. History is remembered by those who write it down. If you don't write it down and you don't keep a copy of what is going on, it will not be remembered. Because unlike our ancestors who wrote their history in stone, we tend to put everything on digital. What happens if digital goes away? Just some thoughts today. Like I said, it's been a hard weekend for me, and it's not over yet. And just amazing. It's just amazing. So be safe, folks. Be aware, folks. Write things down. I mean, even a simple recipe. Write them down. Because you never know. You never know Who in the family would love to have that recipe? And then you pass away. And no one gets the recipe. Like I said, it's been a hard weekend for me. It's been a hard week. My mama passed away December the 7th. Her birthday was October the 26th. And it's taken 10 months to get the family together to go through her stuff. Because she was such a beautiful, shining light. That no one wanted to touch anything. And I know this doesn't affect you, and you're probably going, "Wow, what a fake motion," you know. I anybody who knows me knows that I'm normally not like this. Okay, I'm normally the hard charger, the one that nothing affects, you know. And this really tore me up watching my mom's precious things go, you know, to charity. Watching the family go through her personal effects and separating them out to this sibling or that sibling. Just really difficult, very difficult. And the thing is my mama was so in tune with the fact of how the family would act once she passed away that she literally made a list of who got what. How loving is that? So there would be no arguments. So, history, folks. History is what defines us, is what makes us who we are. Our experiences, they change how we view the world. And if we don't pass that on to our children, it will be lost forever. So think about that. And with that, I'm going to let you go. And I hope this touches someone. My mom would have loved that. She would have loved that. You know, uh, there's so many photographs, so many little cards, so many little letters that we all have forgot about. And history, totally forgotten. I mean, history to the point of this whole folder here is my dad's Navy records. Just from 1956, you know. Just amazing information. that honestly, uh, if we hadn't gone through it, probably would have been thrown away. So think about that, folks. Don't lose your history in the pursuit of today. It's important. It's important. I never knew that my family was here in 1619. I thought my family had come over in the early 1900s. That's just one example. I never knew my family had people who served in the Confederacy. I kind of figured so, just from some of the attitudes from my aunts and uncles. So I kind of figured that, but I never knew for sure. Now I do. I never knew I was related to Blackbeard. That's wild. Who would have thought that? That's actually kind of funny because I absolutely hate the water. uh, just amazing information, folks. Just I can't reiterate this enough. There's so many people that die just suddenly, and all their history is lost. You know. Uh, yeah, we can download history in PDF files, and we can put it on flash drives, and we can do all this amazing things. But if we lose electricity or we lose the ability to turn digital on, it's worthless. So I really highly recommend that you keep a hard copy of stuff somewhere safe, which I don't know where that would be in today's society, but you have to make that decision for yourself. And with that, I'm going to let you go because, as I said, this has been a very hard weekend for me, and I need to take a step away and just take a few minutes for myself. And I love all of you, and hopefully we'll be here next week. Bicycle.